everybody, welcome back here to the Smoke Shack. I'm obviously not in the Smoke Shack today, but I am at my house. It is finally warming up, so I can start shooting my own solo review videos here for you. Today I am bringing you a very special review. As you probably know by now, we are using Cigar TV's new review system for our videos. Huge shout out to Sean and the crew over there at Cigar TV. But today I decided to do it a little bit differently. I went on cigartv.com and utilizing their AI function, I chatted with Kenji, and I'm going to post this video here separately. But I asked Kenji, what is a perfect cigar to go with my favorite morning coffee, Lavazza Espresso? And it suggested that I go with a full-bodied cigar that can stand up to the intensity of the espresso without overpowering it. A good choice might be a Nicaraguan cigar such as the Oliva V series. Now, unbeknown to Kenji and Cigar TV's AI bot, Oliva V series is actually one of my favorite cigars, and if you check out Cigar TV's channel, you will see when we walk through the humidor at JR Cigar that I had mentioned that a couple of times. So, got my Lavazza Espresso here, straight espresso with a little bit of sugar, and the Oliva V series Melanio, the Grand Reserve Limitada. So since I don't have Steve here today to go over the makeup of this cigar, I'm going to actually have to run through this myself. So forgive me if I misspeak, since this is my first time doing this for one of our channels. But here is the cigar. It is a very nice band on that cigar, in my opinion. The box is a nice wooden box. I actually have it upstairs, but I forgot to bring it down here. And the construction is pretty solid. You know, there's a lot of veins in it. It looks like it's a really good cigar quality here. It's kind of quite soft, which is unusual. I've had this in the humidor for a while. I don't see a whole lot of teeth here, but the leaf is in pretty solid shape. And the construction here is the Robusta 5x52 for the Vitola. It is an Ecuadorian wrapper, a Nicaraguan filler, and a Nicaraguan binder. And those initial scents, I'm getting a lot of barnyard manure, but there's also a hint of chocolate in there. From the toe, it's sort of barnyard hay, not so strong on the manure. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this, give it a dry draw. And that dry draw is absolutely ideal. I am getting some baking spice, a little bit of pepper, maybe a little bit of chocolate there. But this is going to be a really good smoke. And these are one of my favorite cigars. Just to go to, it's almost like an everyday cigar for me, whether I'm playing golf or whatnot. It is just one of those ones that it burns consistently. The taste is always there. You know, I mean, for the price, it might not be the best cigar, but you can usually get these at a pretty good price on any of the cigar websites or cigar shops. So whenever I see these go on sale, I will pick these up. For the box of 10, I think I paid around $195 for this. I am not going to give you the price point per score here, as Steve does in the other videos. That's his thing, and I think he does a pretty good job of it, so I'm not going to try to do that. So I'm going to fire this up here. Yeah, that initial taste, it is really good. I do have to touch that side up there. Not my best light job in the world, but we'll live. So right off the bat, I'm noticing that one, the wrapper is kind of peeling off up there towards the cap, and two, the smoke is kind of gray. It's nice blue hue off the toe here, but when I'm blowing it out, it has a really dark color to it. So just something to think about. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and smoke this down here and then come back with my thoughts on the first third. Hey, cutting in here, yeah, so I just wanted to run over the craftsmanship score I gave this cigar. I forgot to do that as I was firing it up. I'm giving the presentation an 8 out of 10. I was a little disappointed with the cap structure. Really like the, welcome Arnie here to the channel. As I was saying, I am a fan of the double band cigar and the box. But I thought that the cap structure and the overall eye appeal on this particular cigar that I picked out of the humidor just wasn't 100% what I'm used to when I pick out an Oliva product. The construction, also an 8 out of 10. The cap was slightly wonky. I did not show that. I apologize. But the color was just slightly off for this cigar. It wasn't really like a full Maduro, and it wasn't a Connecticut. The tobacco was sort of spotty. That also hits into the color, as I was mentioning the construction. It was also soft, not really springy, just really soft, almost like a sponge. In the color, I'm giving a 7 out of 10 because of that spottiness. However, the Vitola is a 10 out of 10. I am a huge fan of the 5x52 Robusta cigars. I think they are perfect for any activity, so that is why I am scoring that a 10. Hey, bringing you back in here for the review of the first third. So as you can see here, the ash color is kind of dark. There's a lot of black spots going on there. A lot of black spots, and the char line is pretty wavy. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my score now. For the first third, the flavor profile is actually the lowest scores I got going here. The intensity is about a 6. It's a pretty mild to medium cigar. However, the enjoyability is an 8. The Oliva product, it is still a good cigar. I'm having a cup of coffee here. It's Friday, so that's probably adding to it. And I just have good memories of them, so you know, the enjoyability factor is pretty subjective, and to me this is a enjoyable cigar. However, it's not the most enjoyable cigar I've ever had, so it's sitting right there at a B score. The complexity is about a 7. Speaking to the flavor profile a little bit, it's very spicy on this first couple of pulls. I was getting some baking spice, a little bit of chocolate, and it's not really a pepper, but there's a spice there that I haven't really quite ever tasted in a cigar or called out before. And then there's sort of a bitter aftertaste, so I'm not really sure if I'm attributing the bitterness to the cigar or if it's from the coffee. However, I am giving the complexity a 7. It's there, and I'm hoping it's going to get better as it evolves, but for the first third I was not blown away. The overall finish of the cigar is a 6. As I mentioned, there is a bit of a bitterness there, and I don't know if I should attribute it to the cigar or the coffee. However, when we get into the burn performance, this is 24% of the overall score, and this is where these Olivas are scoring very high for this review. Draw, consistency, and combustion are all 10 out of 10s. I'm getting nice pulls, big train clouds of smoke every single time, as you can see here. And that's just ideal. I am not pulling very hard to get that at all. However, the ash color and the ash structure is where it takes a bit of a hit in the burn performance. As I showed you there, the ash color is pretty dark. It's, you know, kind of flaky. I did have to give it a bit of a flick there to ash it, so I didn't drop it on the floor here. But I'm giving the structure a 6 and the color a 5. I was not very impressed with that. Resting smoke is a 7. It's slightly blue, and it wants to be blue off of the foot there. However, it's coming out of the cap pretty strongly, as I've noticed. The drawing smoke is about a 7. I think it's a little gray, and you know, that's also playing off of the mouthfeel. I think it was slightly coarse. However, as I'm reading this out, it has mellowed out, so I'm thinking that that score is going to improve in the second and final thirds. The temperature is at about a 6. It was slightly warm there in the first third. And the aroma, I was not getting much from this cigar in the first third at all. So the aroma is very low at a 5. The first third scores at a kind of surprisingly 7.75 to me. I thought that it was going to be slightly higher. So I'm going to go ahead and smoke this down, and then I will come back with my thoughts on the second third of this cigar. Hey, bringing you back in here for the second third. As you can see, that ash burn line has really evened out there, and the quality of the ash, it's still quite flaky. However, the color has significantly improved. As you can see, it is still blowing like a chimney there on the draw. I am actually, it is starting to evolve as well. The flavor profile here is really picked up. I'm getting some yeast, some baking spice. It's a little bit leathery, and I'm actually getting some of that cocoa powder mixed in there. It's also kind of gotten a little bit creamy, so I think that it is really picked up in flavor profile going into the second third here. And that is a kind of what I expected to see. I know that I really enjoyed this cigar, so I was kind of surprised on how low the first third scored. Getting in here, my flavor profile for the middle third really did pick up. The intensity is still at the mild, however it's hinting more closer to that medium side. I got it at a full 3 out of 10 here. The intensity I got at a 7 out of 10. It is same amount of enjoyability. I got it about an 8. Complexity 8, finish 8. The burn performance has stayed the same. I think it's 3 10s, a 7 and an 8. So the ash structure in the color did increase here. I thought the color improved, and the ash structure did pick up just slightly. It's still a little flaky, but the first third, it was really falling apart there. The smoke assessment is where it really did pick up. The rest in smoke is not coming out of the cap of the cigar anymore, and I do see a blue hue coming off of this foot of this cigar. The drawing smoke is an 8 out of 10. It is less coarse and a lot more smooth. The mouth feel is an 8 out of 10, and the temperature here also increased to an 8 out of 10. It is really cooled off in the second third. Also, I'm noticing more of an aroma in the room. There is a nice kind of like a baking spice leathery aroma from this cigar. So the second third scored in 8.22, significantly higher when you're getting down into the decimals compared to the first third. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it evolves into the final third. Curious to see if it increases from the second third, or if it kind of stays with this flavor profile throughout the rest of the cigar. So stay tuned, and I will bring you my final third and the overall score for this Oliva Serie V Melanio cigar. Hey, bringing you back here for the final third of this cigar. As you can see, that burn line is pretty much dead even there. It is a little wavy, but not too bad at all. And the ash color and structure have significantly improved as well. So as this cigar burns, the enjoyability, the quality, and the overall score is improving. Just running you through the score here, the flavor profile for the notes that I'm picking up, it is really evolved into a nutty, leathery, creamy, earthy cigar. I'm getting some hints of black pepper in there. The leather is pretty prominent, and the mouthfeel is slightly bitter. So the flavor has really evolved in this cigar. It has not stayed the same throughout, but it is really well balanced. The intensity has slightly picked up. I'm giving it a 8 out of 10 there. The overall strength is still a 3 out of 10 on the medium side of the mild to medium. Enjoyability, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10, as I mentioned throughout. The complexity, I'm giving it a 9. It is really involved, and the finish is an 8. It's slightly bitter, however, it's not overly bitter. There's still a nice bit of leather and some spice in there. And in this final third, the black pepper has really picked up. As you can see, the draw is still fantastic, 10 out of 10, consistent. Combustion is perfect, 10 out of 10. And I'm bumping the ash structure and color up here. The ash structure has improved. It's not as flaky. The color is significantly more white than the first 2/3. Some gray in there still, but it is absolutely improved. This is where the score is really picking up. The resting smoke and the drawing smoke have significantly improved, and the mouthfeel also has gone up to a 7. It's more creamy. Slightly bitter, but it's a lot more creamy, and the temperature has really gone down. This cigar is really cooled off on the overall mouthfeel. It's still slightly warm though, so I'm still keeping it around a 6. However, the aroma in the room has really picked up. You can smell those spices. You can smell, it's almost like bread in the oven, but slightly musky bread. So 7 out of 10 there for a final third score of an 8.51. Overall, I'll run you through the thirds here. The first third was a 7.75, and it increased third over third throughout the entire cigar. So as I mentioned, the complexity really improved on the cigar. The balance maintained throughout. No one flavor profile really overruled this cigar. But generally when you smoke a cigar and you fire it up, those flavor profiles that you really get on the first couple of draws tend to be how you rate your overall cigar, right? If you really like it or if you don't. When I first fired this cigar up, there were flavors. However, they were not as prominent as you would like to see in your first, initial smokes of the cigar. But the draw and the combustion of this cigar is probably really what helped the score on that first third. But getting into the second third, the flavors really did pick up, and it moved up to an 8.22. And then in the final third, it scored an 8.51. The craftsmanship on this cigar is a 1.59 out of 2. So that's a pretty high score on their craftsmanship, and that speaks to Oliva's quality control. I mean, they just produce really good products in my opinion. Sometimes, like I had mentioned, the first third wasn't there for me today, but it did improve throughout this entire cigar. Overall, I got this cigar scored at an 8.16. So that is slightly lower than I thought this cigar would score. However, I am probably going to bring the cigar back to you, pairing it with something else, maybe a bourbon or even a food pairing here. Probably even going to bring this to you on the golf course and just see how this cigar score evolves during different pairings, maybe on its own and throughout the life of a smoker. I like to do other hobbies and I enjoy smoking while doing them. So let's just see how that affects the overall score of a cigar. Huge shout out to everybody who likes these videos and comments. We really appreciate it. To those who subscribed, we thank you very much. You got us to the 100. So be on the lookout for that winner of the Bolivia humidor packs and the cutter. And if you liked the video, please drop a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. This is my first solo review, so I appreciate all of the feedback. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you're on Rumble, give us the thumbs up. And be on the lookout for more content. We're trying to bring you a cigar review a day and our 2 Perspective Tuesdays. And if you haven't already, go check out Cigar TV. You can get the scorecard and you can rate your favorite cigars and see how they perform. So, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time here on the Smoke Shack.